I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Tim Pandajis. Thanks for joining us on our live stream. We've got a lot of weather to talk about, kind of a two-pronged weather system impacting us over the next 24 to 36 hours. Today, the main event is going to be the severe weather threat, and we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that's up for the majority of the area from now right through 7 p.m. this evening. And radar's already getting a little bit active. Nothing strong or severe at the moment, but they are firing on up. And we've got the warmth and we've got the moisture available in terms of higher dew points out there to warrant that threat. Temperature-wise right now, it is warm out ahead of our main event, which is the cold front that's still well to our north, just about to pass through Dallas, and you can see temperatures behind it are dropping quickly. Ahead of it, though, Victoria at 81, Houston right now at 79. The record high for today, both at Bush and Hobby, is 81, and we were awfully close. We hit 80 already at Hobby today, 79 at Bush. It's in the upper 70s in Sugar Land. Dew points are up in the mid to upper 60s too, so that higher that number is, the more moisture available for these storms to use and produce strong winds, maybe some hail, and the potential's there too for an isolated tornado. Here's radar right now. It is getting a little more active just over the last hour, playing it out here. Some lightning and thunder, meaning that those storms have built up enough and broken their cap that they're now maturing and strengthening as they lift quickly off to the east-northeast, out through the Cleveland area, through Spring, Cypress. These are becoming more numerous, and they have very heavy downpours associated with them as well. So some street flooding, although minor in nature, could certainly be possible as we head through the rest of the afternoon hour, especially north of the city, where we're seeing a lot of these cells move over the same area as something called training thunderstorms. But again, no severe warnings on those cells at the moment. As we go forward, the threats through this evening are going to be for some strong winds, excess of 55, 60 miles per hour potentially. There could be some small hail depending on how strong we see those storms, how vertically built they get. Flooding potential is a little bit more elevated with those training thunderstorms over the same areas, and that tornado threat ever present as well. It's not completely zero, but it's not extraordinarily high either. But we do have to watch that closely for these cells to start to rotate, and if we see them drop a funnel cloud or a tornado. All right, here's the storm threat from the Storm Prediction Center. If you remember a couple weekends ago when we had that storm threat that dropped 7 tornadoes, we were only a marginal risk, a level 1. So we're a level 2, not saying the risk is so much higher for a tornado, just the risk overall in the environment is just looking a little bit more enticing for these storms to be on the stronger side. So at a level 2 for areas like Harris County and points east and northeast of there. West of there, though, is still a level 1, so the entire area seeing some sort of severe weather threat later today. Let's take you through it now on hour by hour here on FUTURETRACK. We'll start off this afternoon. Again, spotty showers and storms. They become a little more organized along the squall line as we get well into the overnight. This is the actual cold front barreling into that very warm, unstable air mass. So a line of showers and storms likely with that. Gusty winds going to be the main threat there. It pushes south, clears the coastline by early Thursday morning. We're left with an overcast skies, misty drizzle type scenario, and also winds out of the north. That's going to keep temperatures much, much cooler for the coming days. Then let's jump ahead to Thursday at 10 a.m. As we go through the afternoon hours, we'll start to see another wave of low pressure develop and track along that cold front that at this point is lingering off the coast. Some cold rain begins to develop here by early afternoon, even mid-afternoon Thursday. Look at the air temperatures in the upper 30s. So that's a cold, nasty type of rain. I do want to draw your attention to some of these areas here out by Sugar Land and Columbus that show the yellow shading. This is modeling showing that there could be some heavier rain. If that's the case, heavier precipitation tends to pull down colder air aloft, and that could certainly be some pockets of sleet in there as we get into later afternoon. Now heading into the first portion of the overnight, here we are at 8 p.m., still looking like a cold rain on the lighter side. If there were some patches of heavier precipitation, again pulling down that colder air, we could see some sleet mixing on in, but modeling showing this looks rather light with drier air getting shuffled in from the north, kind of eating away at that precipitation as it falls, something called Virgo. Bless you, David Paul. And then we've got, as we go into the early hours of Friday morning, this is when the cold air really starts to get pulled down. Temperatures in the 20s at or below freezing in a large portion of the area. The problem is, if you're hoping to see wintry weather, is the moisture at this point will be pulling away. It's always that game of if the cold air catches up and reaches the moisture in time before it leaves. this modeling shows that the cold air gets there just at the tail end when we have a few lingering bands of maybe some light showers, light snow showers, maybe some sleet pelts there, but most of it looks to be rather light. I want to show you something here as well. Same model showing the rain across the area, but then snowfall potential is 0. It's going to be too warm on the ground. We're not going to see anything accumulate on any roadways, maybe a back deck or elevated surface if you get some sleet coming down for a good amount of time, but overall 0 accumulation, so it shouldn't be causing much in the way of travel concerns. So this is a type of scenario that warrants us to talk about the atmospheric profiles. So here at the surface, of course, we're concerned with the temperature every day, warm, cold. But when you're forecasting a scenario like this, you have to get the temperature profile from the ground all the way up to cloud level. So the precipitation falling from the cloud in this system is going to be snow. But the problem is it's falling into a layer of air, relatively thick layer of air, that will be above freezing, and that allows it to melt. If that warm layer extended all the way down to the ground, we'd have complete rain. In instances where you see freezing rain, you get a very narrow little slice of cold sub-freezing air at the surface. Rain is falling for the duration of its life from the cloud to the base, and then it hits that area of cold air and freezes on contact. We're not really concerned with freezing rain. Sleet, however, we have cold air, snow melts in a warm layer, and then refreezes on its way back down into a little pellet called sleet. So we could certainly see that, or even some wet snow if the cold air extends all the way down to the ground, which is looking a little bit unlikely in this particular scenario. So winter storm watches were much more extensive earlier. They've actually been downgraded, but still in effect for areas like Victoria through tomorrow evening and early Friday morning. No winter weather alerts in our area at the moment. We're just under that severe thunderstorm watch, which is kind of weird to think that severe thunderstorms and then winter weather just 24 hours later. So my last thoughts on wintry threat. Models are trending a bit drier and lighter. Will the cold air meet up with the moisture in time for that wintry mix? Still yet to be seen, but it's looking like the cold air might get here just a little bit too late to catch up with that. And the overall travel should not see major impacts at all across all of southeast Texas, which is some good news. Bridges and overpasses, we may have to watch closely if there's lingering moisture as that cold air comes in and maybe freezes up and gives us some black ice. But aside from that, looking pretty good. David and I will be on at 4, 5, and 6 this evening. So tune on TV to see the latest updates there. And afterwards, we'll be back on social with any changes in the modeling data throughout this evening and overnight.